Most people will tell you it was because of your codependency or unresolved childhood trauma that you ended up with a narcissist, that you were broken, that you lacked boundaries, that you should have known better. But I believe the opposite. Childhood trauma is not the reason why the narcissist targeted you. They did not prey upon you because of your weaknesses. They trapped you because of your strengths, your capabilities, your essence, and that's exactly what made you their favorite. Don't believe me? Let me prove it to you today. Hi, I am Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. Welcome to my channel. In this episode, we are talking about 10 unique characteristic traits of a narcissist's favorite victim. The ones that nobody talks about, the ones that do not make you look weak or naive, but make you realize just how powerful you are and how your very light is what drew the darkness in. Before getting started with number one, here is something important for you to know. I'm doing an online training. The topic is how to heal after surviving your narcissistic parent in 5 practical steps. It's happening in June. So if you want to book your spot at an early bird price, click the link in the description or the I button above. Number one, you are deeply committed and your commitment is sacred to you. You do not walk away at the first sign of trouble. You hold on. You fight for what matters. You take your values very seriously, especially the value of commitment, whether it is in work, relationships, goals, or healing, anything. And that is exactly why the narcissist kept pulling you back in. You are not addicted to chaos like them. Indeed, there was an aspect of trauma bonding playing a role, but that's not it. You were loyal to what you thought was actually love. You believed that if you just tried harder, communicated better, stayed a little longer, loved a little deeper, you would eventually find peace. But what you did not realize was that your strength, your capacity to hold on and work through pain was being weaponized against you. And I want you to hear this. This commitment is not a flaw, it is a spiritual gift. It means you're capable of sacred devotion, very unique, but it must be offered to someone who can match your integrity, not someone who uses it against you. Number two, you believe people are as good-hearted as you are, reverse projection. You do not walk around suspecting everyone. You believe in people's better nature. You assume honesty, decency, and kindness. And in a world that is starving for goodness, your heart is rare. But this same belief system is what the narcissist exploited. You did not think someone could lie that well, manipulate that quietly, hurt that consistently while smiling. It just did not compute because you do not operate that way. You would never treat someone like that. So you gave them the benefit of the doubt again and again and again. This trait, I'm telling you, is not stupidity, it's spiritual innocence, and that innocence is sacred. You just did not know it needed protection, but now you know better. You reverse projected, which meant all the good qualities that you have, you projected them onto them. They project the bad stuff, yet you did the opposite. Number three, you hate hurting others even when they're hurting you. You hold back your truth because you do not want to be cruel. You overthink how your words may land. You worry if someone will feel rejected or unloved by you. And in the process, unfortunately, you allow them to mistreat you a little longer because your heart is careful, and careful heart rarely erupts. It endures, justifies, and quietly suffers. This is not weakness though. This is emotional refinement. You have evolved past reactive cruelty. You understand how deeply words can wound, and you choose silence over shame, compassion over conflict, and yet the narcissist twisted this against you. They pushed your limits knowing you would rather self-destruct than destroy someone else. That's not something to be ashamed of. It is something that needs to be redirected toward people who are capable of shame. Primarily, it has to be redirected towards yourself because you deserve the radical and unconditional acceptance. Number four, you are obsessed with self-growth and it made you think you were the problem. Of course, there was gaslighting, but every time something went wrong, you looked inward. You asked, what did I miss? What am I doing wrong here? How can I improve? You did not attack, you analyzed, you read books, you journaled, you worked on your communication, you apologized, even when you were the one who was hurt. This is emotional maturity. And it's rare, but the narcissist saw it as an opening. They knew they did not have to change a thing, but you would do all the work. This trait makes you destined for greatness in every other area of life. But in a relationship with a narcissist, it turns into unintentional self-destruction. You end up fixing what was never yours to fix. But let me say this as clearly as I can. Your growth mindset is beautiful, but sometimes the real growth is learning not to take responsibility for someone else's rot. Not your circus, not your monkeys. That is what I want you to believe in. Number 5, you confuse endurance with love. You have endured so much in life, haven't you? Maybe from childhood, from society, from being the strong one for too long. So pain became familiar. You started believing that real love must be earned through sacrifice. So when the narcissist made you suffer, what did you do? You did not run. You dug deeper. You told yourself that this is what real love feels like: raw, gritty, intense, filled with obstacles. But that's not how it is. Love isn't supposed to feel like survival. Love is supposed to heal your survival. Your endurance helped you rise in other areas of life, but in this dynamic, it only prolonged your captivity. The narcissist knew how much pain you could absorb and mistook it for permission. And I know walking away felt like failure, but what if leaving wasn't giving up? What if it was a sacred act of self-respect? Think about that. Number 6, you are emotionally generous and it made you a target for emotional theft. You give second chances. You make room for people's wounds, don't you? You understand that people are human and healing is messy. You listen when no one else does. You offer empathy even when none is offered back. But with a narcissist, your emotional generosity does not inspire gratitude. It fuels entitlement. They took and took and took until you had nothing left but guilt for wanting something in return. There is no reciprocity. This isn't just about boundaries. This is about recognizing that your emotional energy is divine. It is meant to flow, but not into bottomless pits. It has to be reciprocated. You have to get something back, and that doesn't mean you are selfish, because you also need to be regenerated. Your energy centers need to be replenished. That's how you can become a better version of yourself. Number 7, you believe love can change people. You believe in redemption stories. You have maybe even changed yourself with love. You have grown because someone loved you right, okay? So you think if you just love them harder, if you just hold on long enough, if you just see the good in them, they will wake up, especially if they have given you those childhood stories, how they were wronged and how they are the victim of their circumstances. The problem is narcissists do not transform through love. They consume it, they use it, weaponize it, and this is the part no one tells you. Your belief in their potential isn't delusion, it's prophecy, but it was meant for someone else. Someone who is ready, someone who is willing. Love can change people thoroughly, just not people who refuse to look in the mirror. Number 8, you admire resilience so deeply that you ignored your own suffering. You are proud of your ability to bounce back, to keep smiling, to keep working, to function even while breaking. And while this helps you succeed in a lot of different aspects of your life, in relationships, it can blur your ability to recognize when something is hurting you. Because you always cope, you always adjust, you always stay productive. But the soul doesn't thrive in resilience alone. The soul thrives in rest, in being seen, in being loved, in knowing it doesn't need to perform. The narcissist saw your resilience and thought, I can do anything to them and they'll just stay, they'll just put up with it. That is not a reflection of your failure. That is a reflection of how deeply you were disconnected from your own right to peace. Number 9, you normalized emotional neglect because pain feels familiar. You didn't always receive emotional support when you needed it. Maybe growing up, maybe later. You learn to bottle things. You learn to function through grief, to laugh while hurting, to keep going without ever being asked, are you okay? So, when the narcissist ignored your feelings, withdrew affection, dismissed your needs, it didn't feel foreign. It felt like home. That's when your trauma got activated. But you know, familiarity is not safety. Just because you have learned to survive without emotional care doesn't mean you're supposed to. You deserve the kind of love that does not make you beg for attention, that doesn't make you feel suffocated, that doesn't make you feel like you're underwater and then you are let out only to breathe for a few seconds and then they torture you again. That's not how you're supposed to live your life. Number 10, you want to be the reason someone heals, and that became your silent heartbreak. You saw their wounds, you saw their past, you saw the sacred child inside the monster, and your heart whispered, maybe I can help, maybe I can love them into wholeness. This is not weakness. How can it be? This is beyond empathy. I call it divine compassion. It is what makes you a healer, a guide, a light in the lives of others. But in this case, it became your prison. So you stayed, not for you, but for who they could be. And in doing so, you betrayed the one person who needed healing the most. You. It was never your job to save them. That's God's work. Your job is to save yourself and trust that your love will never go to waste when given to someone capable of growth and receiving it. So if you have ever blamed yourself for staying too long, for loving too hard, for enduring too much, I want you to remember this. You did not fall because you were weak. No, you fell because you were strong in ways that were never meant to be tested like that. You fell because your values, your heart and spirit, they were holy. And you did not know that the person beside you was using your goodness as a weapon. Now you do. And now you heal. Not by changing who you are, but by protecting who you are. Very important. By surrounding yourself with people who do not mistake your love for weakness, who see your loyalty as sacred, who meet your heart with reverence, not exploitation. You were never too much. You were just too whole for someone who thrives on holiness. If this spoke to your soul, I would love for you to share it with someone who may need to hear it too. Until next time, let the healing begin and continue.